Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me. This is Ciara from Ciara T Designs, and today I have this fun alcohol ink leaf card to share with you. So let's jump right in. So I am going to start by creating my Slimline base, and a Slimline base is once scored 3.5 by 8.5 inches, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what the measurement is. And then I also cut down a panel that was 3.5 inches. Now I could have used what was left over from the first cut, but I usually can't. So I did not need the second sheet of paper here, but that's okay. We made it work. And then I did bring in my Deckled edge trimmer as well. And I just used that to kind of create this fun edge on, this is Neenah Desert Storm cardstock. It is a lighter weight cardstock. It's not what I would normally use for a base, but I just really wanted to do this kind of light craft tone on tone look for this fall card. So that's kind of what I went for. And I'll be honest with you guys, I wasn't excited about the leaves when I finished them. I did have to walk away from this project and then come back later to kind of admire it. And it's only because the colors didn't quite turn out how I saw them in my head. There's nothing wrong with them. It's still a cool card. And of course you could change up the colors if you wanted to. They just in the end didn't feel quite as fall as I was hoping. And that was the only issue that I kind of had with it. And then here after I've scored my base, I noticed that the panel was a little bit larger than I wanted it to be. So I did bring in my Deckled edge trimmer again and just trimmed it down a little bit more. And then I'm going to run through some scraps of Yupo cardstock that I had because I am going to use alcohol inks, and I do prefer Yupo for alcohol inks. It's just what I like to use. There's no wrong way. There's so many other papers you can use. Yupo is just my favorite. So that is what I'm using here. And I save all my scraps so that I can kind of cut things with them when I want to. And that's what I was doing here. And I cut all 5 leaves of the Tim Holtz Leaf Fragment dies. I think these are still available. They came out, I want to say easily 2 years ago. So they might not be available anymore, but any leaf die would look really cool with this. I just love the cutout parts of these leaves. And I think they're really neat, especially for a fall card. But there's no wrong leaf die. So whatever you happen to have in your stash or whatever you can get in your hands on, you can easily recreate this card with that leaf set. And if this is still available, I will have it linked and listed down below. As always, everything I use is always down in the description. If you ever think that I've missed something, leave me a comment and I'll let you know what it was or what I used or what my thoughts are, anything like that. Just leave me a comment and I'll happily answer any kind of questions you guys have. I did use my craft pick just to get the leaves out of the dies because I did run them through twice because I have a switch so you can push the button and it goes through once one way and then comes back the other way. And so I did that with these, and I did use my precision base plate as well. That's that chrome plate. That's that really shiny plate that went through with my die cuts. Just because I find that when I have a more detailed die or when I have a medium that doesn't like to cut, that is the best way for me to run it through my die cutting machine. So yeah. And then I'm going to jump right in with my alcohol inks. So as I said, this is Yupo cardstock, and I like to use blending solution. You could use isopropyl alcohol if you wanted to. The only thing with that is that if you're going to use any pearl colors, you need blending solution, or the pearl of the pearl color kind of flumes off and it doesn't stick to the surface. So keep that in mind. I just like to use blending solution because I love movement in my alcohol inks. It just makes me so happy to watch them kind of like slide across my Yupo. But again, no right or wrong way. This is just my preference. You can use isopropyl and it will give you movement. It just won't give you color blending. So it's just kind of a preference thing mostly, other than the pearls. As I said, you do have to use blending solution with pearls. So for the colors in here, for my green, I have two of each color. So I have Wilderness and Green Meadow. Those are my 2 green shades. Then I have 2 colors for orange. It was Splendor and Scorch. Those are pearls. Keep that in mind. Then for my reds, I have Cranberry and Red Pepper. And then for the purples, I have Purple Twilight and Amethyst. Now, when I'm going to go into one of the leaves a little bit later, I added some amethyst and it looks blue. It looks like a very dark blue purple. And it's not quite what I was envisioning when I did this card set. And again, there's nothing wrong with these. These are beautiful alcohol inks. Alcohol inks, though you don't get a lot of control, can be a very forgiving medium, I feel, as long as you kind of have an idea and an understanding of color theory, so you're not, making brown. Although, again, in this case, I wasn't worried about making brown because these are leaves and they are fall. So a little bit of brown on the leaf wouldn't have mattered. It would have just looked like it fit, so I wasn't really concerned, though I still keep my color theory in mind. But when I pulled these colors, if you want to do work with alcohol ink, pull colors that look beautiful together, like pinks and purples, blues and purples, blues and pinks, that kind of stuff. And that even if they blend, they make a stunning color, and you're going to still end up with just stunning work. Right? And you could, of course, have done a panel and then die cut the leaves out of the panel. But I'm kind of impatient, and I don't like to do that because I find that I end up transferring ink onto my die cut when I have to put enough pressure to get it to cut the Yupo. And then I forget that it's there, and then I die cut something else, and then I have like all this ink transfer. So I prefer to die cut my image out of Yupo first and then work on the surface that I know I'm going to have. But there's no wrong way to do this. Whatever you want to do completely works. And if you hated one of these leaves, you absolutely could bring in isopropyl alcohol, which is what I'm using right now to splatter, and wipe off the color and start again. Alcohol inks are pretty forgiving. So please keep that in mind. And then I did bring in, this is some acrylic ink. It's in a bronze color, and I've never used it, and I've had it in my collection. I have a set of 3. I have gold, silver, and this bronze color, and I've never used the bronze color. So I thought that it would be really fun to bring into this card design and just kind of add it around the edges of my panel, which would help my panel separate from my base layer, my card, right? The card base. And I'm also going to splatter it across the panel, and I'm going to edge all of my leaves. Now, it doesn't show up super well in the video, sadly, but hopefully when I hold up the card at the end and I kind of, move it in the light, you can see what it gives. But it just gives this really pretty finished edge look, and I love it. You could, of course, do this in gold if you wanted to instead, but I thought the bronze really fit well with this fall-esque feel. And I'm going to say it's a fairly whimsical fall feel because my leaves did end up not quite in the color palette I was hoping for. So perfectly okay, still a beautiful project, but I did have to walk away because I was a little bummed that the colors weren't quite what I was aiming for, but not so bummed that I, started over. So it's one of those things. Sometimes you just have to take a step back, and, we're always going to be our own worst critic. And I think that I'm bad for that because I did show it to my husband and he thought that they were really pretty, and I showed it to one of my good friends and she thought it was really pretty. So it was me. But it's just one of those things where sometimes I see it in my head and I can't quite achieve that. So I get a little frustrated, right? But I think it turned out lovely, and I love the leaf dyes. They're my favorite. I did also go in with my paintbrush and I edged the inside of all the cutouts as well. You're going to see that again when I hold it up once we're finished, but I thought it looked so pretty with having all the holes of the leaves lined as well. I was so excited about it. I loved it so much. So I think that turned out really pretty, but not a necessary step. It is a very, very subtle add, but I think that it looks really neat. So I like what I did there. And then because this card is fairly, not simple necessarily, but fairly straightforward, I did want to add a little dimension to my leaves. So to start, I added some Big Mama foam tape on the back of my panel. And the Big Mama foam tape is only about an inch thick. An 1/8 of an inch thick. So it's so thin. So you get dimension without adding a ton of bulk to your card. And I love that because I do tend to mail my cards pretty often. So I like to, and a lot of people, a lot of my pen pals are in European countries or, overseas, or, they're Americans. So I do end up mailing my cards, lots of different places. So I want to add dimension and interest without a ton of bulk. And that's why I kind of go for this foam tape. And then for my sentiment, I did bring in the Tim Holtz sentiment label stickers. I love these. I just think they're a really fun way to add a sentiment. I mean, of course, you could stamp something, you could die cut something, so many options. This is just kind of what I went for. And I did go for a thanks sentiment. I don't know if you guys know, you'll know if you're Canadian, but Monday for me is Thanksgiving because I'm Canadian and we do Thanksgiving in October. And so I was really leaning towards, thank cards on the Thursday videos just because it's kind of fun. Even though I am currently in Christmas, you guys will have seen as of Monday, we are doing the 12 weeks of Christmas series now, and it is my 4th year doing it. So I am really loving it. And you guys know I love snowflakes, so don't be surprised if I do a lot of those cards. But because, this is my video right before we do Thanksgiving, I did really want to do a thanks card. But I mean, again, you could put any sentiment here. You could put like hello fall or, there's so many things you can do with these. I like to kind of try to make my cards fairly versatile so that you can put any sentiment you want on it that's more fitting for whatever you have going on lately or whatever you need a card for. But in this case, like I said, I did aim for a thank you card or a thanks card. But yeah, so that's kind of what I was thinking. I am so excited that I've had some new subscribers sign into the channel. Thank you so much. It is really funny. I went and I looked at my algorithm the other day, or not the algorithm, sorry, my analytics. And I still have 50% of people who watch my videos are not subscribed to my channel. So if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing. It's a dream of mine to hit 10,000 subscribers because honestly, that number feels huge. And I know in the scheme of, people who create 10,000 people is not that much. But if you think about putting 10,000 people in one space, each of those is one person. And that's just so mind-boggling, So if you're not subscribed to my channel, but you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing. It is a dream of mine to hit that, the 10,000 number. And, every day we're moving closer. So it would be phenomenal if we hit it before we hit 2025. That would be, amazing. I don't know how realistic that is. I don't know, but that would be pretty amazing. So I would love it. And if you already are subscribed to my channel, thank you so much. I cannot express how much I appreciate your support and your guys' love. I read all of the comments. I'm catching up on answering or responding to all the comments. I did get a little behind there, but I am catching up. So I do respond to all of the comments. It does just take me a little time to do that. But if you ever have any questions or any thoughts, you want to share anything with me, please do. I do read them all. I do try to answer them as quickly as I can. And I really want this to be a great community of creatives that just kind of come and, make stuff together. So that's kind of, what I'm hoping for out of my channel. So I hope you guys are feeling that way and, enjoying, what I'm making and what I'm sharing. But yeah, so that is the whole card. You guys know that I love bling. I collect bling. I am a more is more style creator, so I do tend towards, adding shiny things to everything. So I did bring in these kind of bronze gems. They're so pretty. They're a pink fresh one. I don't remember the name, but they will be linked down below so you can check them out if you're interested. But that's the card I have for you. And hopefully you can kind of see that really cool bronze edge now. It's on all the leaves. It's around that deckled edge. And I think it turned out really neat. So thank you guys so much for stopping by and checking out my content. Leave me a leaf emoji if you made it all the way to the end, or just tell me in the comments. It's just always wonderful to see you guys actually enjoying the video all the way to the end. And I really appreciate you. Thank you guys so much. And I will see you again on Monday for week 2 of the Christmas, 12 weeks of Christmas series. Bye-bye for now, guys.